Hey listener, welcome to 1000 Routes. I'm your host, Nick Bennett. In each episode, we explore the uncommon paths of solopreneurs who have bet on themselves and the reality of what it takes to build a business that serves your life. Enjoy the episode.
I am Lee Densmer. I'm a content marketing strategist and author. And what is a content marketing strategist? Specifically, I build and run or fix content marketing programs so they start giving ROI.
Well, you've been in the game a lot longer than most people have. And let's start here. After 25 years in corporate, you decide to abandon ship and go out on your own. What motivates the person to do such a thing?
That is semi-accurate. So Decide happened after 2 layoffs. And for anybody who's listening who's been laid off multiple times, the first one is devastating. You feel like you just got voted off the island.
Been there.
And yeah, I think many of us have, or at least afraid of a layoff. And we're all well aware how insecure a corporate job can be. So even with the severance, it's devastating. So I applied to 242 jobs because at the time I thought I need another job, right? 242 jobs. I interviewed for a handful of them. I did somebody made me do an IQ test. I did a bunch of free. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently I didn't pass it either because I got no offer. I did free pilots and it just wears on your soul. I finally got an offer. It was a good offer. And I worked there for a year and a half. A narcissistic, toxic manager came in and laid off the whole team. So second layoff. The second layoff felt more like a release and a victory than the first one did. And I was like, I'm free. I can go do my own thing. And I did not go look for a job. I sat down with my husband who said, I want to do my own thing. He said, we've got a kid going to college. You need to replace your income in 6 months, but I'll support you. So I opened up the LLC, I bought the domain, I bought a laptop, and voila, you've got an open business. So it was a forced choice, but the best push ever.
We're all accidental entrepreneurs, yeah. I think. And my story mirrors a lot of yours. I got laid off, but I only had to go through it once. And I saw the writing on the wall. I was like, I'm not applying to 242 jobs, trying to convince people I know something about marketing that other people don't. I'm not going to deal with that. At the time, I had one kid and he was 9 months old. And so I was like, I don't have time for this. We had severance and everything. So I totally feel where you're coming from. So you go through the second layoff and you're like, okay, was the plan like, if I get laid off, this is it. Fuck it. I'm just going to go for it. Right. What was the plan? Or did you see this happen and then you're like, okay, I'm not going back?
That's a good question. I didn't have a plan, but I saw it coming. I saw the layoff coming. And I wasn't really sure what I would do. I think I thought my generation we just work. We get a job. A lot of my peers have worked in the same job for 25, 30 years, right? My generation, Gen X, we just do the thing forever. And then we retire. You
get your gold watch.
Yeah.
Right? You ride off into the sunset on your pension.
Yeah, exactly. Get your pension. And so I didn't ever think I would be an entrepreneur. I didn't see it. There's so many things in the past 3 years that I just did not see coming at all. And that's been amazing and scary. But interestingly, my husband's a business owner. So I've kind of watched the ups and downs of him being a small business owner. He's not a solopreneur. But when I was faced with doing another job search and another 242 resumes and all the interviews and all the terrible interviews, all the ageism that I felt in the interview process, I wasn't going to do it again. So it became the only choice. It took me a while to have the confidence that I knew enough to go sell the thing. I had to sit on that for a minute. What business do I have? Opening this business up and being a consultant and calling myself a consultant. Who's going to pay me for that?
Yeah, I think we all feel that, especially in the early days where you're like, okay, I'm sorry, I've committed to doing this thing. And I remember the same things you described. I bought the domain, set up the email, I bought a laptop. I was like, okay, we're doing something. We're doing something.
I have a business.
We're going for it. I got my LLC. All right. how'd you get your first clients?
This is a really big part of my story. Because I was in one industry for 25 years, I had a ton of contacts in that industry. They were already in my network. We were already connected on LinkedIn. A lot of people knew me. I'd worked for 4 different companies in the same industry. So when I started my own thing, I just started networking. I had never been much of a networker. I'm kind of an introvert. It was didn't feel very natural for me, but because people knew me, I was pretty easily able to fill up a book of business that lasted for 3 years in that industry. So I did really well my first year. And then you have this kind of high because you think, I'm killing it. I've got a full book of clients. I like what I'm doing. People are resonating with the work I'm doing, but an existing network only lasts for so long. So it was relatively easy to get that first 1, 2, 3 years. I hit my revenue goals.
Yeah, most people have like a year, maybe a year and a half of like network generated leads in them before things start to slow down and they go, oh, shit.
Exactly what happened to me. It lasted for 2.5, 3 years. Yeah.
What'd you do about it?
That's a really good question. And I'm still in the middle of it. So I gave a big think to whether or not I still wanted to be in that industry or what I wanted to do instead. And I eventually decided to do a couple things to work in other industries. I'm still trying to figure out where I best play, because I think content marketers are best when they have expertise in the skill and then industry expertise also. They go together. So I am exploring different industries. I am broadly selling my services right now to people who need it, but looking to specialize. The second thing I'm doing is, this is interesting, audience. So I have a pretty large audience on LinkedIn. I have 25,000 followers. And when I slice and dice my audience, only about 5% are like actually my ICP as defined. So I've got this big accidental audience, which just sits there. Like I haven't really known what to do with that. How did I attract this accidental audience? I don't really want to monetize the audience, so to speak. It took a while before I came around to thinking, what am I doing here? Why aren't I monetizing this accidental audience? Maybe it's not an accident, right? Interestingly, those people are the ones who ended up buying my book and who are subscribing to my newsletter. So I've got a really engaged audience that I was never selling to. So I'm right now in the middle of building and launching a course. So I will have my consulting services, my book, and then the course. That it's the teaching aspect of what I do.
Got it. So what's like the industry that you work in? Like, I want to understand a little bit more about the professional services side, because that's where we see most people making the most amount of money. So like you said that you're kind of doing a few different things and to people who need it. Like, how are you navigating what offers you create and sell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that has been an evolution over time. Those first 3 years, I was selling retainers. Then the companies that I worked for were in the $4 million to $100 million range. So not small companies. They would have some sort of Frankenstein content program and need people to come in and structure it, put some strategic wrap around it, put production processes in place. So it'd be a retainer where I would come in, set it up, and then run it. And my longest retainer was 28 months. That's a long retainer. That's a really long,
That's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time. So those were great. And then retainers just age out, right? They just get stale. And usually in my experience at the year mark, they get stale. You kind of run out of things to do. Strategy just isn't hopping full time after several months. So now I am doing 3-month sprints where I go in and I do the same thing, but I kind of hand over the process and then I'm out. And if they want me to help them with maintenance, I'll stick around, but that's a much smaller retainer. Because I think long-term retainers are hard to sell and not very desirable to a lot of businesses.
Yeah, I think there's an issue with like that people find with the incomplete off-ramp, or like there's no natural off-ramp or bookend to the program or to the work. And so at some point we find people look up and they go, well, what are we doing here exactly? Where are we going?
Mm-hmm. Why are we still paying this woman $8,000 a month or whatever?
Yeah. And it's like, and it's not that the work is bad or that they don't need it or value it, but at some point developing an off-ramp helps. And what we find a lot of people do is operate in some sort of sprint model, and that there's like, even if it's just 3-month blocks of work where they can give somebody a way to either like sign off or to renew with a more refreshed roadmap, seems to be a way easier model. Cause then you also don't have to feel like you're like, every time you send the invoice, you're like, oh, is this going to be the one? Are they going to see this invoice and go, we should really just end this thing?
I totally felt that way. You send the invoice and you're like, I didn't do that much this month. Like, it doesn't feel good, does it?
No, it does not feel good. But this is a problem I see a lot of people face, is that when they're so over-rotated, I'm curious if you've experienced this, being really over-rotated on strategy. And then they look up and they go, man, I have a whole Rolodex of clients that have my strategy, but none of them have a massive impact. Like, I haven't made the difference on the clients that I want to make, that I know we're capable of making if we just dialed up the execution. And so I think we've all been sold this great big consulting lie where it's like, if you like, the person who sells the strategy deck gets paid more than the person who does the work. I think that's nonsense.
Me too.
I think that's total nonsense, because people know that the strategy deck, someone showed me there was a strategy deck for like $70,000 and it took 3 months. And I was like, that's bananas that they showed the proposal for $70,000 strategy over the course of 3 months. They're like, I don't have 3 months. Not only do I not have 3 months, but I'm not going to spend $70,000 to wait 3 months.
Hell no.
And it was like, well, who's going to do the work? You got to spend more money, find different people. No one wants to execute someone else's strategy. That's like also not a thing. So we like to jokingly call it like, how do you drag your clients to glory? So I'm curious, like, did you always do execution? Were you always strategy? How did you blend it? Like, what was how did you navigate that?
I always did strategy and execution. And what you said is absolutely true. When and if I tried to sell only strategy, it was hard to sell.
Yeah.
It just was like full stop, hard to sell. People want execution at the same time. And they want somebody to stick around and do the execution or teach their team how to do it. How many times have you walked into an organization and somebody hands you the consultant strategy deck and you're like, what is this?
Useless. You just like chuck it in the wastebasket.
Totally. What is this? What did you pay for this bloated, useless thing? So strategy without execution is where you see the results of the strategy. It's it's the proof.
I think it's worth way more.
It's worth way more. I don't know why. Everybody who tries to sell only strategy struggles. That's what I see.
I mean, I see people successfully sell it, but I think they tend to be the people who are the least fulfilled in the work that they do, in my opinion, because they don't ever see it through. When you're like, hey, what outcomes have your clients achieved? And then they go down this list of like, they didn't have the team to execute, or like this person got swapped out and so they never ended up doing anything with it. So like I hate calling them excuses, but like there's a reason that nothing got done. And 1 out of 10 clients are successful because they actually had the nerve to go and see it through, versus 9 out of 10 clients are successful. And I think that defeats people. I think that totally crushes your little consultant marketer soul when you're like, damn, like I'm really trying here and I just can't seem to gain the traction I want. So I'm very passionate about people rolling execution into the mix, because one, it's like, well, strategy's a dime a dozen. I mean, ChatGPT exists, right? We all know that, like, if you really wanted a content marketing strategy, or any strategy for that matter, if you wanted an offer strategy in my world, it's like you could ask for it. You can get one. It's like having someone help you see it through, I think, is the most important thing. So it's cool to hear that other people see this too, because I think a lot of times there's still a lot of unlearning that people need to do. I think there's a lot out there that people still believe that strategy is the most valuable thing you can do, and it's almost like doing the work is kind of beneath some people. And it's not that they feel superior, but like they've been told this and they've adopted this belief that I'm not the person who does the work.
Let's unpack that though, Nick. So in my business, I am a writer. I've been a writer for years. I've written 60,000 blog posts. It feels like it. When I execute, I don't do that work. I have subcontractors who do it, but I manage it. I'm the one moving the chess pieces around.
That still counts, in my opinion. Like, it's like you're not sitting there tapping on a keyboard. Like, you've done that, but like the program or the offer and the business closes the loop on it. So whether you're doing it, or the business has gotten to a place where you can have contractors support the work is largely irrelevant. And I think in the grand scheme of things. So I love that you said you have contractors. How many people do you have that's supporting you, and then like in what ways? What's the makeup of that?
Yeah, you bet. So I have had 4 or 5 strong writers over time doing the actual writing work. Once I define it, they do it. The LinkedIn post, the blog post, the ebooks, the landing pages, the newsletters, all the things. And then I also have made a very intentional effort to find the right partners to do the things that I don't. Because the last thing as a consultant that you want to do is go in and either pretend you know something you don't and can't learn, or not have an answer, right? So like I have got a video guy, and they're partners, not subcontractors, but it's worth talking about because together they bring with me the whole solution for my clients. The video guy, the SEO, the people who do what I don't do.
Yeah. Where do you, like, people struggle with this one. Where do you draw the line between what do we white label and what do we refer out? We don't really white label anything. We work with a copywriter for some stuff, but we're very like transparent about that. We refer out all of our web design work. And I think people struggle to like, should I like pass it through and mark it up? Should I keep it? Like, I don't know. And I think there's a struggle of what we define as like, well, how do you keep the main thing the main thing? Like, when are you doing stuff that you're not?
Yeah.
And trying to become this like do-it-all agency, this like do-it-all micro agency versus like your specific little micro agency. I think that they're very different things, and one is really exhausting. Like, to be a project manager across all these different companies and stuff to try and manage their work and justify the and understand the decisions and communicate it to the client. I don't want anything to do with that. I don't think anybody does.
Same. I think some people do, and there's maybe a misperception that you can make money if you white label something and then layer on your whatever 10 or 15.
They mark them up. Yeah, they mark them up 10, 20, 30%. But then I feel bad because it's like, oh, they got to pay more to work with you because of me?
Right. You feel bad. And I don't really want to be in the details either, because that's web design and I don't do that. I don't want to watch the pieces move around. I usually just refer things like that out and then agree on a referral fee. And that, of course, goes both ways. I refer you, I've got a paid partner, a video partner, and SEO. You get a job. There's a 10% referral fee for that first month. And then you think of me when somebody needs content strategy. I may see you in meetings. We may work together. We may collaborate as collaborators, but you don't work for me, and
yeah,
we're not going to complicate it.
There must have been a moment when you decided to do this thing and not go back to corporate that you were second guessing yourself. What kinds of things were you questioning? How'd you work through it?
So one thing that becomes really clear right away is that when you're a business owner, you have to spend half of your time working on the business and the other half in it. So by that, I mean invoicing, marketing, accounting, and that stuff really sucks. And it's a really high learning curve to know how to, taxes, S corps, right?
Taxes.
Oh my God, right? Taxes.
Like, I can't even afford a good accountant yet. So like, I don't even like, how do people figure this out without money?
Yeah. All that stuff. That was a huge learning curve. And that is daunting. You get through it. I mean, I encourage people to hire an accountant right away. Don't.
Yeah. Get an accountant.
We're saying it. Get an accountant. Do not try to do that. You need to understand the stuff, but
you don't want to go to prison. Go to jail for not paying taxes. Just get a freaking accountant. I use Collective. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. I used them forever. Yeah. They're like a do-it-all for solopreneurs, and they were like $350 a month. They were really, really great. And I'd probably still be using them if Eric and I didn't merge. No free plugs, but like, it was a good solution. I think it's good for a lot of people.
Right. That's really not very much to like literally not screw up your accounting.
Yeah, to not fuck it up. That's a small price to pay.
Those things are very stressful. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs literally just ignore the money part. They ignore it. They watch the money come in and they don't think about, they might not even have our checking account set up for their business. They're just dumping stuff into their messy.
Yeah. So keeping that organized. So those were some of the things. It's funny. We hear a lot of that. It's like, we find that in the beginning, like, I'm really good at content marketing, so I'm going to do content marketing. And then you find yourself as a business owner. You're like, oh, I have to like understand some of this stuff.
Really?
I also think that we tend to overcomplicate things. Like, we have some entrepreneurs that we work with, and I'm like, they're like, invoicing takes up so much of my time. I'm like, check the box that says send monthly. Just send the recurring invoice. Like, stop messing. You're overcomplicating it. They're like, oh, right.
QuickBooks. Like pay for a decent tool, pay for QuickBooks. It handles all that. The tool set is overwhelming, I think, at the
Yeah,
start.
there's an unlimited number of tools. And it doesn't matter. This is the thing I've learned. It doesn't really matter. You buy FreshBooks or QuickBooks. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference. Just get something. I agonized over which one was right and this and that. In the beginning, I was like, this is the work that looks like work, but it's not actually work.
But Nick, having to switch a tool, I had to switch both my accounting tool because it couldn't handle payroll in Idaho. And I had to switch my email marketing tool. And what a shit show. Like the last thing that you want to do is migrate systems. So you should pick well at the start.
I think it's like, I should have just got QuickBooks from the beginning. Like I tried FreshBooks. I don't know why I thought that was like, maybe their marketing got me or something. But yeah, it's like, I think just don't agonize over this stuff and just like get the thing and move on with your life.
FreshBooks was probably $5 less because
it was, and it mattered.
It mattered in year one, right? You're like, I saved $5.
It mattered in month one, right? Like it really did. And then it's like, well, I guess all that to say though, is like, so yeah, the admin and all of the managing of the business. But what we see most people do is that they kind of get lost in the delivery and they always tell us, I stopped marketing or I stopped doing something and I don't, now the project ends with the clients roll off. Maybe one client owned too big of a percentage of our portfolio. That client rolls off and now I'm left with nothing in the pipeline. Like, have you found yourself in those situations where you're like, now I have to go get a client?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know one of us that hasn't. I mean, I think when we're all in that kind of business honeymoon phase, you're doing well. You're using your network. It just feels like, oh my God, it's easy. I'm the best entrepreneur, right? And then your bubble bursts. You do definitely take your foot off the gas when you're busy with client work. And I took pretty much the whole summer off from business development because I was writing a book. I just was heads down in the book. I was doing client delivery, but no business development, a lot less on LinkedIn. And yeah, so winter comes around and some contracts end, and the timing was good because I had the month of Christmas and New Year's off and took a fun family trip. But then in the new year, I thought, need a couple clients. So absolutely had to put my foot back on the gas with business development.
Yeah, that's not on the business in the business thing. It's like some people say it's like no matter what, don't dip below like 25% of your time marketing the business.
That's really hot, Nick. 25% of your time.
It's a lot of time. I mean, we personally dedicate probably about that much. I mean, I know people that try not to go below 50%. Like this is risk management, right? What do you need to do to feel good about your pipeline strength over time, right? The durability of it, like, in 6 months, because I'm a believer, like the work we do today puts deals in the pipeline in 3 to 6 months. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm not here today, in 3 to 6 months, that's when I'm going to feel it. Mm-hmm. Like if things are good today, it's because 3 to 6 months ago, I did something right.
That is really, I think, a good figures to have people stick in their head is your biz dev needs to be at least 25% of your time. That's 10 hours a week for most of us. So whatever that is, that's email outreach, that's posting on LinkedIn, that's writing your newsletter, right? You would lump those things in that category. That's direct messages. It's all the activities around just bringing people into your ecosystem.
Yeah. And I I tell people 25% because I know that it's extreme. They get halfway there, it's way more than they would have done. Right. And but we also do significantly more marketing than most people do. Like I host 2 podcasts. We write mini books. Eric has her newsletter. We're both very active on LinkedIn. So we do a lot of stuff. Whereas for most people, it's like, if I can get a post out 3 to 4 times a week, and if I can shoot off a couple DMs and start a couple conversations, get a couple things going like every week, it's like, it's not much. And most people are like, if you could probably get it done in 30 minutes a day. And because nobody likes LinkedIn. I think everybody universally agrees that they don't want to play LinkedIn. It's not fun for anybody, but we all agree that it makes us money. So it's like, well, what do I need to do here? Like, how do I deal with the LinkedIn problem?
You have to find 5 LinkedIn friends so you can enjoy it a little bit. But yeah, nobody wants to be stuck on LinkedIn all day.
Yeah, for sure. So how many iterations of your work and your offer did you go through before you landed on something you felt like was like, this is it? Like, this is going to stick for a little bit. Like, I feel like this is delivering the value that I want. It's easy enough for you. How long did that take you?
Well, it was pretty early in my business when I figured out what the buyers in this industry needed and wanted to buy. So I had an offer that was good and standard for 3 years, and it always had the same elements. It was repeatable processes. I would go in and just do the same thing, rinse and repeat. So I worked pretty hard at the beginning to make sure what I was selling was repeatable, standard in price, standard in process. And now my offer is a little bit different. So I would say one offer was good for 3 years with some fluctuation, and now the offer is different. I had one offer with 3 tiers. Like I was going for the Dodge Neon, the Honda Accord, and then the Porsche. Somebody taught me that. And then people always buy
Good, better, best. Yeah.
people always buy the tier in the middle, or they almost always do. And now I actually have 3 different offers, and I'm not doing the tiers anymore. Why did I shift? Well, like I said, I think the 3rd year, I just realized that model and then the retainer basis wasn't maybe the best fit for what I really love. Also, at 3 years, you can look back, Nick, and go, I love that client, and think about why. Or I really hated that client and think about why. And pretty soon you see patterns and you're like, I want more of that and less of that.
Yeah. The first thing we do with our clients is a client audit. And we look back and do exactly this. We say, who were they? Where did they come from? What are the outcomes they produced? Did you like working with them? Did you not? And we have all our clients rate their client experiences. And it's pretty telling pretty fast what we need to do more of and what we need to do less of.
It's interesting that people don't run through that exercise kind of without prompting, without help. I remember a client, it was my 28-month client. And in the final 6 months of that engagement, I was like feeling sick before the calls.
Oh yeah, you gotta rip the Band-Aid off then.
That was really hard. And yeah, for 6 months, I was like, I got to cut the cord here. I got to get rid of this client. I got to break the contract. But you see that money just going away, and that you literally weigh that for months. I'm miserable, but I don't want the money to go away. Months, Nick. I don't know why it takes so long.
Scarcity mindset. We all have this fear that like, will there be another client to replace them? Especially if you don't have lead source freedom, where you can't just go get a client, or like you don't have some sort of inbound motion that feels repeatable or reliable. Mm-hmm. Totally. This is a thing that most people face, and we've faced it in the past too. And sometimes you have to just know. You have to like trust yourself and know that if I let go of this client, that another one will show up, a better fit one will show up. Oftentimes when you do the hard thing and you do the thing you know you're supposed to do is when the good stuff happens, versus like putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. That generally doesn't serve you well. And it tends to reinforce all the things you already believe about the way the world works. Because once you let go of that client and all that guilt that comes with it, I think there's a lot of guilt of like, well, what would they think of me if I fire them? Mm-hmm. When we say fire, like it's a bad thing. It's like, well, like they're probably, when we've done this ourselves for clients where we've done all we can do together and we haven't quite ended it. When we do that, we find it's like, they're relieved.
That's a relief. Totally.
They're like, oh, thanks so much. Like they're happy and they're not upset. They're not like, oh, we were waiting for this. They're just relieved, and you can point them to the next thing or whatever it may be. But everyone's generally pretty happy with the situation. So that's a big one. And it's hard because even though I know, and you tell yourself all these things, like sometimes you're still like, but should we do it? So I totally get all of that.
And
it's not fun.
In like the first year, you don't have the lessons or the confidence or the wisdom to know that if you let go of something different or better is going to come along.
You have to know, you have to trust in yourself quite a lot more.
A lot. You have to know. I was talking to my mom the other day, and we were talking about starting a business and being expert. And she's like, you must have to have a lot of confidence to do what you do. You have to go into conversations and believe that you know what you're talking about. You sure seem like you know what you're talking about. And I was like, yeah, you do. And sometimes it's fake until you make it. But also at my age, you just kind of have the imposter syndrome just goes away. You're like, I don't have time to doubt what I'm doing anymore. I don't have time. I can't be in that mindset where I don't feel like I belong to be in the room.
Yeah. Mindset's probably the most important thing I've noticed across the board with all of this stuff. Like am I good enough to do this?
Mhm.
And like the imposter syndrome, like no one's lying to anybody. No one, I don't think anyone is out here trying to deceive people. So I don't know whether they feel like they're imposters, but there's definitely a sense of like, who am I to try and do this thing for people or so and so, like especially in the beginning. But there's people like making, the joke is like there's that 22-year-old kid trying to sell to like CEOs. He's like thinks he can like coach a CEO of a real business, and it's like there are people that make probably some questionable decisions in terms of who they're trying to sell to. But I think for the most part, like especially in the beginning, like one of the things that I personally did, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, that they've done the same thing, is like the idea of the 2-year test. They look at themselves and they say, how do I help a version of me 2 years ago? That person needs what I know today. And that is like the best possible place to start, because they don't need someone who's 1,000 years down the road and knows so many things that they're not even close to coming up against. They need someone who just went through what they're currently going through. And that helped, I mean, me personally, get through the first few months of trying to figure out like, who am I to help people do a thing? It makes a difference. It really, really does make a difference. But I'm sure throughout all of this, there's been a series of decisions or things that you've come up against that have impacted the direction of what you're building. Can you share a moment or a decision along the way?
Oh yeah, I'm going to share a funny story. So I think a lot of people who listen know Renee Froho. I went last year to Mexico with her and her new narratives group to see people and get out of town and all the things. And they were all asking me what was next for my business. And I didn't really know that. Things had been going well, but I kind of saw, like we talked about, things turning and some, like the end of that big contract. And Renee's like, why don't you write a book? And I was like, I'm never writing a book. I don't have it in me. And she was like, well, you're a creator. And I was like, what? I don't think of myself as a creator, but she's maybe the first person who called me that. Anybody who publishes a newsletter and writes on LinkedIn can claim to be a creator. It just like felt like a cringy word. So I left, and that all got me thinking about what I really could do next. And Nick, I've been a writer all my life. Like I have a writing degree. So writing a book really is a logical choice for me. So then the next funny thing that happened, the ConvertKit conference is here in Boise. So it's called Craft and Commerce. It's Nathan Barry's conference here in town. And I was at Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is right across from the venue where they had that conference last year. And I see Jake Klaus across the street. And I put my groceries in my car and I walk across the street and I meet Jay. And then he's like, well, you should just go poke around into the conference and see what's there. And I was like, I'm going to go crash this conference. And I walked in and I looked around and crashed the conference. And sitting there was a big... and I even texted Renee. I was like, I just met Jake Klaus and I'm going to go crash this conference. And she said, you do that. So I walk into the conference and there's a huge stack of books on a table and no one around. And the book is Chandler Bolt's book about writing a book. And I'm standing there and nobody's there and there's nobody to talk to. And I pick up a book and I pocket the book. So my pivot has to do with stealing something off of a conference table. And I talked to a couple more people and then I left. So I get home and I've got, Renee in my head telling me to write a book. And I've got this book about a book that I just literally stole and I started writing my book.
Did you read the book about writing a book?
I did.
Okay. I just stole it and that was my sign. I had to write this.
The sign was that it was on the table.
Venmo this Chandler guy $15 for his...
I think the books were free, but I think you were supposed to talk to somebody.
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. You just walk in and poke around. You're like, oh, there's like all these books right here. I guess I'll just grab one.
I'm going to grab a book, and I grabbed a pen, and I grabbed
a little bit of swag. I get it as an attendee of this conference.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what a Trader Joe's trip that changed your life.
Right, exactly.
So how long after this experience did you start writing your book?
I think I started it like the next weekend.
Oh, wow.
After I read the book. Because, of course, I binged the book. If I get something in my mind, I'm going to consume the thing until it's done.
We're all a little ADD positive on that one. We'll go rabbit hole it and just absorb all of it. And you go, okay, I know enough about this situation that I am ready to go. How long did it take you to write the book?
3 months. So what happened was I put all of my content into one Word doc. So 55 newsletters. I just put it all into a Word doc. And I had 35,000 words after doing that. And
That's a book. Yeah, so that's basically a book.
It's at least half a book. So after that, I filled in the blanks. And I maybe I'm making it sound trivial, but I filled in, the intro, the conclusion, the chapters that were missing. I expanded. And then I had a 65,000 word book.
Just like that.
Just like that. And then I handed it off to a developmental editor. And that's when the work started.
I bet.
That was the oh shit moment. And she's amazing, long-term partner and friend of mine. But she had a lot to say. And the editing and revision part was way harder than actually getting 65,000 words into a Word doc. That's where the work started.
What's the developmental editing process like? Like, what are they? I've never done this, but we're in the process of doing our own book in our own way. So I'm curious.
Yeah, I know a little bit about that. So they are reviewing for flow and completeness and clarity of ideas. So they are really acting like a thought partner. They're not checking for commas. That's another step in another process. They're checking for clarity.
They're like, this doesn't make any sense, Lee. What the heck are you doing?
Like, this is terrible. You have to delete this whole chapter. And that's the feedback I got, was like, this doesn't make any, I know. So then, you know how hard it is as an author to literally cut 2,000 words. It hurts.
You agonize over all those words.
It hurts. You agonize over these words. But that process made it better. After I looked at her 16-page summary of my shitty book, I was like, I wasted my summer. But no, I chipped away at it, made another draft, and then I gave that draft to my advanced review team, which was 11 awesome people who said that they would actually read my book.
Wow. That's awesome. And so it came out last summer?
October. I published October 15th. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Self-published, that's the way to go. I think that's the absolute way to go. That's something that we're going to do.
You know how much it cost me? Do you want to know how much it cost me to write and publish a book?
How much does it cost to write and publish a book?
$9,230.
That's not bad at all. That's nothing.
Okay.
I don't think that's, I don't know, maybe I'm jaded, but I think that that's a pretty good deal to have something immortal, your legacy,
right?
Printed. Anyone can just go on Amazon and buy it.
Well, you can. So that cost, though, I paid a coach to help with.
Is that included in your $9,000?
Yeah. And that person helped me with the coordination of getting the cover design and getting the book laid out, getting it laid out. The
interior, yeah.
Right. And you do not want to do, you do not want to do that clicking.
No.
So that kind of stuff. And then I paid the developmental editor, and then I paid somebody to build a web page to sell it off of. They're just nobody understands how much business there is to do when you want to try to sell a book.
There's so many little nitty gritty details that are often overlooked. How do you get a book on Amazon? And then do you do Amazon publishing? Do they print it and ship it for you? There's so many questions. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that $9,000 number. I also think that that's the way to go, because eventually, hopefully, you'll make that back. But in book sales, quote unquote, direct. But I think you've probably made way more than $9,000 from people who have picked up the book and been like, this is the person I want to help us.
Yeah, that was the whole point.
Right. Yeah. It's no one writes a book to get rich.
Well, some people think so. I think
yeah, people think they'll get rich.
I've made $5,000 on the book so far. So
hey, there you go. So look at that. You're halfway there. You're a little over halfway there.
Halfway. But I got significantly better at what I do from having written that book.
It forces you to clarify your thinking.
Yes. And you are consuming so much in order to write the book that you literally can't not get better at what you do. So it's a somewhat electrifying process. It's what you're reading, the people you're talking to, the conversations you're having, the podcasts you're listening to, all to help you push the book to the next level. Because I wasn't going to write a shitty book. I wasn't going to publish a book if it was bad. It needed to be a good book. And that takes a lot of doing.
Yeah. I don't think anyone sets out to publish a shitty book. Maybe some people do, but yeah, the level of rigor that goes in, and it's hey, you also have a full book of clients, and so this is probably nights and weekends or whatever it is to get this thing over the finish line. I give a lot of credit to people who try to write a book that way. We do not have that. I do not have the nights and weekends in me, mainly because my children are too small and it's not working for us. But we're doing what we would consider a more digital publishing strategy where we publish basically a chapter of the book each month.
Mm-hmm.
We call them mini books.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think around August of this year, we'll have enough to bind it, do the developmental editing to make it, to do all the transitions, and then lay out the interior, get the cover, and get that thing shipped as a big book. So we're going to, instead of trying to like do it all at once, we're going to spread this thing out over the course of a year. It'll probably take us about a year, but we also get a ton of content marketing juice out of it along the way, which is cool. We get a ton of, and people share the mini book. So I'm really, really happy. And we work with an absolutely legendary co-author, Katrina Kirsch. She's wonderful. She helps us do all the writing and the editing of the content.
I can't wait for that book. That's going to be great. And you'll have so much fun getting the cover designed. Like, that's all really fun.
Yeah, that's like the fun part of the book. I mean, I think jamming and doing the writing and the way that we're doing it is also a lot of fun. Like, we're not sitting there kind of like agonizing over some of the details in certain ways. I mean, it's definitely, there are parts where we're banging our heads against the wall being like, what does it mean? Like, what am I trying to say here? Mm-hmm. But we are way more like a writing band, like Erica, Katrina, and I, which is fun because we all get to work together and play off each other to get the book across. Whereas like writing it by yourself, I could not do. I'm not a writer. You know, Erica's a writer, Katrina's a writer. They could write their own books. Yeah. I couldn't do it. So I need epic, legendary people around me to help do this because it wouldn't happen any other way. And I think there's a lot of other people like that. They're like, how am I supposed to do this without, like, I need people.
Mm-hmm. I want to do it, but how do I do it? Not everybody's a writer. And so there's a good point, Nick. You don't have to be a writer to write a book. But
yeah.
That's the other thing that I learned about writing a book is it takes a village. It is not a solitary pursuit. Neither is running a business. Like the solopreneur thing is.
Oh, it's a joke. Like that's like, I think the whole joke. That's why we call ourselves Duo, in that we serve solopreneurs. It's like, it's so silly. It's because no one goes alone. I think that's like half the thing is like nobody goes alone. Everyone has someone, there's some structure, and we're really big on this like micro agency idea because of it, because like very few people are completely isolated and running everything 100% by themselves.
Terrible idea.
I wouldn't do it. But we're all like, oh, I'm a solopreneur. So I'd be like, and for like a few months there, everyone's kind of like, I should do this by myself because that's how I identify. My identity has told me this. And then you realize that everything's made up and the points don't matter. And you're just doing something for the sake of doing it. And once you let that go and you release that, in the same way you can release bad fit clients or clients that have run their course, all of a sudden everything starts to snap into place. Quite magical. It's really magical.
It's really magical. And you're right. It's really magical. You don't see the magic until you've kind of been through it. Writing a book, just like owning and building a business, it takes a village. My advanced review team, my developmental editor, my coach, there were 15 people involved in that damn book.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And no one sees that. No, they just go, wow, Lee wrote a book.
No one sees that. And it was a really vulnerable thing to do, bringing people into your business or bringing people into your book to help you when you are maybe struggling with something or it's not in your wheelhouse is a vulnerable thing to do.
Yeah.
And I imagine that bringing a coach into your business is kind of like bringing a developmental editor into your book. Like, I'm letting you into my closet and it is a mess in there and you're going to see some shit I should have got rid of a long time ago. And I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
But you be nice to me and I'll let you in.
That describes my relationship with our clients pretty well. They're like, all right. Like, but they know, they're like, I know we probably should just take the trash out.
There is trash in here, but I can't really separate the trash from the treasures right now.
So I get that. Well, Lee, this is fun. So looking back, what's something you would have done differently?
Oh, so many things. I joined a couple communities at the outset that weren't a good fit. So I think that communities are amazing, but you need to choose them carefully.
Oh, yeah.
I believe one-on-one coaching can really move the needle for you at the right time. So that's an investment that took me too long to make. I spent too much money on my website. Like, that is not the first thing an entrepreneur should do. Like, I see some people spending 12 grand on their website. I didn't, but I know, right? Like, just please don't do that at the start.
The irony of that one is that the most successful people I know, or the people I know who make the most money, their website either looks like shit or they straight don't have one. And I'm like, that
That.
Like it's proof that the site is just like a crush. And I'm not saying websites make you unsuccessful. I'm saying the website, we've conditioned ourselves to think that it's just like magical digital asset that will help people somehow overqualify themselves. But it's not. Most people never even look at it.
Right.
But it's good. It helps you internalize a lot of the stuff. And it helps you feel really like feel more legit in a lot of ways. But it is not an indicator that you are going to sell more stuff. Like if you can see it, I joke, it's like if you can see it in your mind's eye, if you can see it, you can sell it. And the people who see it don't need a website to see it. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. And maybe the whole website development process is about tightening your messaging because you're forced to do it when you write, if you don't, forced to do it. So maybe that's the vehicle for tightening up how you talk about your business. But it's a misinvestment. And then the other things, Nick, that I did was I held on to some of the things too long that I should have outsourced. The accounting, graphic design, just things related to my business that I was trying to do because I thought I had to do it all. But, outsource that stuff.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling very well on all of those things. I've held on way too long because you're like, oh, like it only takes me a couple minutes. It only takes me a couple minutes. And then you're like, oh, a couple minutes there 100 times. You're like, this is hours a week.
Right. Yeah.
So Lee, let's end here. What do you want to build that you haven't built yet? What's next for you?
So what I've learned is that I'm capable of building lots of different things. And that there are lots and lots of good ideas out there, right? So I need to be careful about what I go build next. I mentioned that I'm building this class right now, so I'm going to focus on that. And then maybe I'll build a digital version of it. So I also would say, Nick, that I'm not intending to work a whole lot longer. I'm maybe got 4 more years in me. And I have loved the learning curve, little plateau, learning curve, little plateau. That's part of being an entrepreneur, and that's amazing. But I don't know if I'm going to push myself through too many more cycles of that. Maybe a couple more, and then I'm going to say peace out, and I'm going to golf, and I'm going to travel, and I'm going to say I'm so freaking glad I got to be an entrepreneur for the last 8 years of my career.
Hell yeah. I'm trying to get there like in 4 years myself. Like I think we're all trying to get there. I think that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
You've put in the time. So
Right.
Lee, this has been a ton of fun. It's been fun to hear your story. Thank you for coming on and sharing it with me. And I know more people feel seen because of it. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, it was great.
What would be your last meal on earth?
My last meal on earth, Nick, oh my gosh, I'm such an American. Like, seriously, a hamburger and a big pile of fries. Hamburger, bacon, cheese, tater tots with fry sauce.
Tater tots. All right.
I'm from Idaho.
All right. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. You're in potato town, potato country, USA. I get it. Do you go like smash burger or do you go like real thick, like one of them juicy? What are they like?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Like neighborhood restaurant, local joint, skip the chili, skip the Red Robin, just the big old local.
Yeah.
And like
quarter pounder.
Elk or bison.
Mm-hmm. Are you like standard American lettuce, tomato, onion?
I eat burgers like a toddler would. So cheese and ketchup.
Having a toddler, I totally get that.
Yeah.
He eats it without a bun. He just cuts it into strips and he just eats it like he just eats it that way and just dips it in his ketchup. He's like, he doesn't have time for the bun. It's just in the way.
Funny. Most of us don't have time for the carbs, but I'm like.
I'm with you. The bun is the way, but the baby can't quite get his mouth over the bun. So he's just like, I don't have time for this. I like it. I'm in. Well, if that time comes and you're inviting guests, I'm there. I'm eating that burger with you. Is there a specific place you eat the burger?
There's a lovely family-owned restaurant down the hill that just has a great burger. And Tuesdays is buy one, get one. So we will take my teenager who can eat like 4 burgers and just go
load them up.
We order 5 burgers and we just watch the burgers go down.
All right. I had someone say McDonald's once to this question. Yeah. It was, hey, I'm not mad about it. Like whatever you're into.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's an all American burger one way or the other.